You don't want to miss the Sunshine Community Gardens plant sale, which is coming up on March 3rd. For details, check out sunshinecommunitygarden.org. And right now we're going to be talking about transitioning our vegetable gardens and getting them ready for the spring. And we're joined by Paula and Glenn Foore from Springdale Farm in the heart of East Austin, which is becoming kind of an agricultural center for the city of Austin. There are lots of farms popping up on the east side with those beautiful, deep, rich river bottom soils. Welcome to the program. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having us, Tom.
Tell us first off about Springdale Farm. Where are you located and what are you growing?
Well, we're located at 755 Springdale Road, and it's about a block and a half north of 7th Street. Like you mentioned, deep in the heart of some of the best old river floodplain soil in the area. And we have a 5-acre site.
You can grow a lot on 5 acres.
Yes, you can. And it's chopped up into a lot of smaller plots, the way that it's segmented. It's a beautiful piece of property. We've initially, when we bought it 20-some years ago, we were running a landscaping business, and we still operate the landscaping business, Texas Trees and Landscapes. We still do the landscape, but you know, we hit an economic blip in the radar, and I'm a horticulturist and have always been a big tomato guy and pepper guy from my grandfather. And so we decided, you know, trying to find a way to keep our boys busy, and we started growing and had such good feedback that we decided to, I've always been enamored with the plight of a farmer and what it would be like, so here we are. And we're really
learning firsthand what the plight of a farmer is.
Yes, we are.
Much to the advantage of a lot of folks out there, I might say, because there's a lot of hunger right now for locally grown, fresh produce. People are willing to go out of their way to get it and pay more if they need to, because they really want to support the local farmers and get that fresh stuff instead of something that's been shipped halfway around the globe.
Yeah, that's what Springdale's trying to make their mark on, I believe, is we pick as fresh as we can for our markets and then for the chefs that come through and we deal with, because I think, you know, when you snip that plant, things change in that plant dynamically.
Right.
And
so Paul, tell us when folks can come out and actually acquire some of this produce.
Well, we have markets every Wednesday and Saturday from 9 to 1, and if you come in that little parking lot, we're indoor in our office/barn/farm stand.
Okay.
Just come on in.
You got to combine these things on a 5-acre farm, right? You know, it's a lot of space, but not that much space, right? So let's talk about transitioning. There are a lot of folks out there who, in addition to wanting to go out and purchase produce from the local farmers, in addition to that, they want to grow some at home. And at this time of year, it may be a little early to get things like tomatoes and peppers in the ground, but I know you guys are probably producing the plants right now, right?
It is a little bit of a transition time. We still have our fall crops, and it's still time you can plant beets and get a quick round of lettuce, and so we're still planting in the field. But if you are able to have a little greenhouse space, or you're able to start your starts, it is tomato seedling time. We're fortunate we have a greenhouse. It's a large greenhouse though, and we don't want to heat that whole thing.
Right.
So we've really, it's totally rigged, I admit, it's totally rigged, but we have tarped it up inside and have little seedlings on trays with heat lamps that we buy at the hardware store and hang over them. For some reason, we had vanity lights. I don't know why we own those, but we plug them in under the trays.
To keep them warm, the root zones warm.
yeah.
We have big barrels of water that we put on the west side, and that's solarized and warms up a bit. So whatever we can think of, come up with it. We don't have to pay for expensive heating.
Well, that makes a whole lot of sense. Improvising really
Improvising.
is well.
Yeah, we've got a big, heater hanging in the greenhouse, but it just seems, economically crazy to use it. So it's more challenging more gratifying to simplify it, and any homeowner can do the same thing in their backyard.
Well, and speaking of homeowners, they need to start thinking about freshening up the beds where they are going to be planting these things. Let's talk about, you're fortunate, and we mentioned the fact that you're in that deep soil there, but I know that you probably amend it every single season.
Yeah, we do. We're firm believers in, things start underground with the microbiology in the soil. So, when people come to the farm and ask, how are we doing, how the plants look so good, it's all in the soil. So the composting, the landscaping business is a perpetual, we do a lot of maintenance. So we have control over what we're bringing in as far as grass and leaves. And so composting, so we compost every time we pull a crop. And so, having the landscaping gene in us, I'm all about raised beds anyhow.
Sure.
And so I think raised beds, particularly in the dichotomy of Central Texas soils, is a good way to go, is build that organic matter up, even if you're on caliche and, raise it up 6 or 8 inches and you can do pretty well with some great compost.
Right, right. Now, what about the actual planting? One thing that I think people have forgotten to do is not, for example, plant tomatoes in the same place every year, year after year. The old notion, which our grandparents understood and taught us, but somehow a lot of us have forgotten, about rotating crops, is really important, isn't it?
It is important. It helps with the pests and the soil-borne problems that you might incur. It's difficult in a small space to follow a textbook crop rotation.
Sure, sure.
So we do the best we can, and we heavily compost and keep that soil really healthy. We think the most important thing is that soil that keeps the plant healthy.
Yeah. Well, I think that is the critical thing. And you're right, it's tricky in a small plot, and especially for those who have really small plots and are insistent on the tomatoes, which take up a lot of space. But it is, keep working the soil and trade out as you can, I think is probably the best a lot of home gardeners can do.
Right, exactly.
As best you can,
Yeah.
exactly.
Now, what do you plant, and what are the varieties that are working best for you in your location?
Well, if people are interested in tomatoes right now, we have fun experimenting with the heirlooms. And the heirlooms that work for us are Purple Cherokee, Brandywine.
I keep hearing that from people everywhere.
Well, I have to tell you, this is my first experience with the Purple Cherokee, and Glenn's the horticulturist and has taught me so much, but I am still learning so much. My first pick of this Purple Cherokee, it had green shoulders with deep cracks in it. And I said, Glenn, we can't put this at the market. It's too ugly. We'll have to take this one home for us. But I went over to Boggy Creek to check out Carol Ann, who's been a real mentor to us and friend, and she had all these tomatoes that looked just like that, and she was selling them for a little extra much. And I came back and said, this is what heirloom is.
Yeah.
So they're not necessarily always perfect or beautiful, but the taste was just incredible.
I'm with you.
We just can't get enough of them. So
Great meat.
Purple Cherokee, Brandywine, Muscovich, we had great success with last year. Prudence Purple, Black Creme.
Yeah. One of my favorites is Jeff Davis. It's hard to find. It doesn't produce that many, but oh my goodness.
The taste.
The taste indeed. Any other, aside from the tomatoes, any other top picks for y'all?
Well, I like a lot of peppers, and so we grow a lot of serranos and jalapenos, and smoke them. We make pepper flakes out of them. Seems like we're experimenting with some hotter peppers this year. We've had some people come to us and offer up, some red habanero. So we're trying some different things out there. The chefs, they like different things. Like they would love your Jeff Davis tomatoes.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they would. Now, you're making me hungry, and I'm sure that you're making some of the folks in the audience hungry. So let's real quickly remind them where you are. You're in East Austin, just north of 7th on Springdale, right?
Correct.
Okay, and it's Springdale Farm, and you have a website, springdalefarm.com.
Yeah, you can follow us, Springdale Farm, Austin.com, and then follow us on Twitter and Facebook as well.
Got to wrap it up, but I really appreciate y'all coming on board and giving us a quick jump start for the growing season. Good luck to you at Springdale Farm.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
All right, coming up next is our friend Daphne.